Welcome back to the JCPod, partner with Stare Down Sports. Stare Down Greatness. We are finally here, people. 2 days away from Thursday Night Football, and man, does it feel good. Man, College Week 1, though, that was actually some exciting stuff. We had some very interesting wins by some teams. Monday night, yikes. We had some you want to talk about interesting showings by some other teams, so we got a lot to talk about in that aspect, but before we get to there, we got some NFL news to go over, so you know how we roll around here. We're going to start with some NFL news, and I'm going to react to College Week 1. And then I will say, starting next week, I'm going to go to 3 episodes a week. Monday's going to be strictly college football, so I can spend more time talking about the games and news and not just like kind of cram 60 games into one setting, because I usually do try to watch like 4 to 5 a weekend and at least get like eyes or ears on like 6, like I won't say 6, but like 4 other more, so try to get about 8 to 10. So, like I said, Monday's going to be strictly college football, Tuesday's going to be NFL, and then Wednesday's going to be the Pickem, which, like I said, tomorrow we got Pickem, but we'll get into all that a little bit later. For now, let's talk some NFL news. This actually happened, I think, shortly after I went off air. I don't even remember if we talked about it or not, but just in case we didn't, Micah Parsons got traded to the Packers, which was absolutely insane. I'm assuming this happened when I wasn't on, but it's and he also has signed a 4-year deal. It's worth $188 million, $136 million guaranteed, $47 million a year, makes him the highest paid non-quarterback in history, which is absolutely insane that they just finally moved on from him. But what it sounds like is like Dak's come out and said some weird stuff. How it sounds like both sides are happy about it. Jerry Jones came out and said they needed to stop the run. That's why they got rid of him. That was interesting. But it just sounds like it was a weird situation regardless, and it just got to a boiling point, and then now it's to the point where both sides are probably going to end up being happy. I know Cowboys fans are not happy at all, and I'm sure the Cowboys are really going to miss him. I mean, Kenny Clark's a good player, but he's not Micah Parsons, so I'm assuming they're really going to miss him. Watching the odds change in the betting market was absolutely insane for him going over there. I think the Packers went from like plus 2,000, like plus 1,100. Was a favorite to win Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, everything just changed for them crazy. I wonder what their over-under wins. I did not check that. I can't remember, but I'm sure that went up a win or two. It was shocking trade, but yeah, that's like a season-changing trade, honestly. So it's going to be that's going to be very fun to watch. I forget who they play opening night. We won't talk about it tomorrow, but yeah, I don't know how much he's going to play based on training camp and everything. It sounds like he's going to play a little bit. He might even get an injection to try to play, but yeah, the Packers getting Micah Parsons like a huge. That's like a move. That's a lot of people have already said it, but that's like a Super Bowl making move where it's like, oh, okay, now they got a guy over there, that's gonna be a problem for some people. What was I gonna talk about next? It was Jabril Peppers got released by the Patriots. I believe we did talk about that, but he is released by the Patriots. Will not be shocked. He's probably gonna get signed here soon by somebody. He played pretty good for them, so I'm assuming he's just like new regime. Doesn't fit like exactly what the new regime wants, so. Yeah, that's basically just how I feel about it. Deron Bland signed a 4-year deal worth $92 million. This came shortly after the Micah Parsons deal. Obviously, it's $50 million guaranteed for him. I think it's not bad. He was entering the final year of his rookie deal, which is kind of crazy because Parsons was entering as well. So the fact that they didn't sign Micah, signed him, that's going to have a lot of fans talking. But I think Deron Bland, he's proven himself to be a pretty decent cornerback. He missed 11 games last year, though, with a stress fracture in his foot, so he didn't have an interception over 7 starts after having the insane year in 2022. Or, sorry, insane year in 2023. He was in a rookie in 2022, but then he was hurt last year, so interesting to see. I mean, I don't blame them for signing him. I think it's a good deal. I can't remember what, 6th highest paid corner in the NFL. Might be a little rich, but I don't think it's horrible, honestly, so. And plus, with how bad their defense is, they're going to have to keep some guys around, so. Probably good they kept him. Yeah. If he doesn't play well, there's going to be a lot talked about how they traded Micah Parsons, but obviously paid Deron Bland, even though Deron Bland has nothing to do with this. We know how the media and the fans are going to be, but yeah. I mean, them just trading Micah Parsons, I'm really curious where the Cowboys are going to be at mentally as a team. They make it sound like it's going to be a good move for them, so that's where it's like, hey, maybe they might end up playing better. But Eagles first week, it's going to be tough. I will say, that's going to be tough. Something interesting to note, Tyreek Hill was not named a captain this year. I mean, I don't think that's like too crazy to think about, but yeah, he was the first 3 years of the Dolphins he was, but after the weird stuff last year with Week 18 and then the trade request in the offseason, yeah, it's just a really weird situation. So that's just going to be something to keep an eye on for future. Because yeah, are they going to get rid of him? Are they going to move on from him if that ends up going really bad? But the fact that he's not a captain, like I said, I don't think that's too shocking. But that's like okay, because that is a player voted on award, supposedly. I'm assuming that's how it is for most buildings, but obviously I'm not an NFL player. I do not know. But yeah, just something interesting to know. Aaron Rodgers was named team captain. I don't think that's too shocking. Kind of like, yeah, how Daniel Jones was named it. Like, weird, but not overly shocking, to be honest. Jackson Dart being the QB2 over Jameis is actually something very interesting to note. That's one of those, I don't think that's too shocking as well either. Like, that's kind of like, okay, makes sense. But the fact that he is QB2, I'm honestly kind of now, I won't lie to you, he might end up playing sooner. I thought they might save him like all year, maybe play him later in the year, but I would not be now shocked if he comes in like week 6, week 7, just based on all the, I mean, if it goes really bad for the Giants, that's probably what's going to happen. If it goes mediocre to okay, I see him staying back. But I mean, Brian Daboll is basically coaching for his job, and it sounds like he is a little bit more willing to play Jackson Dart if he's ready to play. I mean, he did okay in the preseason, but obviously, as we know, preseason only means so much. It could be really different in the actual season when the first stringers are playing and they're actually running exotic defenses and changing stuff up. So, but him being QB2, something to note as we move ahead in the season. This is a report. I don't know how true this is, but it's being said that Micah Parsons might need an epidural for Sunday. Like I said, I have no idea how that's true is, but that's just being reported. That's another one of those things with the back injury too. That like, there's rumors out there about how serious his back injury is. It might be more worse than it is. I don't know how true that is. Like I said, there's just something going on with it, so it makes you wonder a little bit. Like, there's a small part of you wondering, like, man, did the Cowboys do the right trade? I really don't think they did, getting rid of him, but there's a small part of you with his back stuff that makes you kind of wonder. But like I said, I still kind of don't think so. Juwan Jennings returned to practice, even though there's still issues going on with the contract, but he is back with his calf injury. Let's see. I'm trying to see if there's anything about the injury they said in this article. I mean, he's going to be a very important part of the offense because of the injuries and just the departure of Deebo Samuel and other things of that nature. So the fact that he did want an extension kind of makes sense. But yeah, I'm not too sure if they're going to end up making a deal with him or not. But it does seem like he is going to play and he's not going to take the fine. So I'm assuming something might get worked out. I don't know. The Steelers did sign Jalen Warren to an extension, though. Speaking of things getting worked out, it is where's the money? I don't think they say it in this article. Nice. I think it was like a $12 million deal or like $14 million with 12 guaranteed. It was something really, really small. It was a 2-year deal, though. I do remember that. But, yeah, I'm probably going to have to look it up. I don't think that's a bad move. That does make me wonder about Caleb Johnson now. So as a guy who hasn't been to league, just kind of like, ooh, does that change kind of how he's going to be used now? I mean, I don't think so too much because I think 2-year deal, they extend him through 2027. Just basically keeps him there a little bit longer, I guess, to like help Caleb Johnson in case he doesn't maybe not go out. Sorry, maybe if he doesn't maybe like get as much experience as they think he needs or get ready enough to play, like one of those things. But yeah, I'm not seeing the money for the deal, but I thought I saw it was like 12 to 14. Let me check X real quick and then we'll just move on because yeah, kind of spent a little bit long on this and for not just being able to find anything. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything so far, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not seeing it, so we'll just move on from that. But shout out to Jalen Warren, signed a 2-year deal. Matt Stafford expected to play in Week 1 despite the back injury, which is good news for obviously the Rams because they really need him to be healthy if they want things to go well for them this year. And then the final two things to talk about, that's the final thing. The Bills are reuniting with Gabe Davis. He signed, I think, a 1-year deal. He'll initially join the practice squad as he continues to recover from a meniscus injury, but then when he's ready, he will join the team, I assume. Probably not a bad reunion. The Bills wide receiver room, they have Khalil Shakir, Keon Coleman, Josh Palmer, Curtis Samuel, Elijah Moore, Tyrell Shavers. I mean, there's a lot of room for someone to stick out there. Gabe Davis might not be too bad, but he is a bit older now, and the fact he's coming off meniscus injury, he's definitely going to have to prove it. So, I don't know. I guess it's just a guy they trust. Maybe Josh Allen trusts him a little bit more, but not a horrible receiver to get. Just interesting move for sure. So that's going to do it for the NFL news portion. Now we'll kind of just talk about some of these college games that happened throughout the week. I'm not going to talk about every game. I'll just mention, and I'll probably talk about some games a little bit more than others here and there. But like I said, there's a lot of games to talk about, and this time it is going to be more of a condensed version than what I'll probably do next Monday, where I can spend more time on games. But first one, Boise State lost 34-7 to South Florida. That game was insane. I mean, Boise looked like they were in it for a little bit, and then the fake punt happened, where they snuck on the quarterback. Boise didn't notice, and then after that, it was just a rout from there, and South Florida really put it on them. I heard some experts I like to listen to said that they think that the American, I was trying to think of what league it was, they think that the playoff team is going to come out of the American instead of the Mountain West, which is very interesting to think about. So that is something I'm going to watch for, definitely, to see what American team starts pulling away, to see what Mountain West team starts to put it together. But I will say, I will steal some of their analysis for this because I didn't watch a lot of the Mountain West games. They did say a lot of the Mountain West games were kind of mediocre. Like, not the games, but the teams. Like, the teams kind of played mediocre. And if you look at the scores and just kind of look around there based off stuff I've seen too, it's like, yeah, I'll admit, they did not play the best either. So that is, like I said, something I'm going to look for. It's the American to maybe have a playoff team, so I don't know who it's going to be, but something to keep an eye on. One game I kind of wish I watched, Ohio versus Rutgers. Ohio started to make a comeback a little bit, and then Rutgers kicked a field goal to win it at the end, it looks like. They kicked a field goal with 11 minutes left, and there was no scoring. Well, that seemed like it was a really fun game. It's 31-34. Ohio might be really good. They take on West Virginia next week, which, hint, might have a bet in that game, but it's going to be... That looks like it might be a fun game based on how this game went. I would like to say that's a game I wish I watched, but I did not. East Carolina, North Carolina State. I ended up not being able to watch the whole game, but East Carolina comes back a little bit for us to cover, so that was nice. That's hilarious. I had to pause for a second because I won't lie to you. I was starting to read some games out, and for a minute, like that East Carolina game, I forgot I didn't give it out as a bet, but I did end up taking it myself on the side and it covered. So I was sitting there for a minute and I thought it was week 0. So I was sitting there like, wait, did I just spend like 5 minutes reading out some stuff about week 0? And then looked and it's like, it took me a minute, but it's like, oh no, we're good. So I just had a massive brain fart moment where, yeah. Well, East Carolina, I thought it was week 0 for a minute, so I was sitting there like, wait. This isn't week 0. No, we're good. Back on track. I did almost want to bet Delaware. Glad I stayed away. They ended up not covering there. Duke. That's apparently that Elon Duke game. Duke put up 3 touchdowns really late in the fourth quarter to make that look a little bit prettier than it was, which is something to think about as we head into next week. Because I think I might be taking Illinois in that game. But nothing really as of note for Friday besides Nebraska-Cincinnati. That was an awesome game. I'll admit, fell asleep, didn't stay up for it. Really upset about that. But since Nebraska ends up winning with an interception at the end, as Cincinnati wasn't able to fully complete the comeback win. But that was an awesome game. They played that at Arrowhead. Like I said, I ended up watching some of the highlights back and everything. Really wish I was able to stay up to watch that, but your boy just fell asleep. Won't even lie to you. But yeah, like I said, there's some other games Friday. I'm not going to read out every single score. I'll do that starting next Monday because I'll probably have maybe 1 or 2 sentences for some games. Other games I'll just read out the score and just read it out. Friday, one game to note. Tarleton State beats Army, first FCS team to win a game this year. And that kind of shows you like, oh yeah, with Bryson Daly gone now, Army might not be the best. So that is one American Athletic Conference team we do not have to worry about probably because, yeah, if they could not beat Tarleton State, they're probably not going to win the American. Wake Forest beats Kennesaw State 10-9. That's probably a very concerning score. And I mean very concerning score for Wake Forest. They probably should have won that game by a little bit more. I don't even think they covered. So that could be a problem. I heard Aiden Childs didn't play the best for Michigan State, which could be an issue later. So that's a team I'm definitely going to need to get some eyes on in week 2 to see how Aiden Childs is doing. Kansas just destroys Wagner. Illinois, like I said, they beat Western Illinois bad, so they then travel to Duke, so that's a game where I'm interested in seeing how Illinois will do on the road. Should be good, you would think, but I don't know. It's college football now, so it feels like, especially this year where it feels like it's so wide open, it feels like some teams could be any teams on any given day, which I mean is college football in general. Bit nervous about that, but I think I like Illinois in that game, like I said. Georgia Tech, Colorado, that's a game I'm mad I didn't watch more of. I ended up watching more of the Baylor-Auburn game, which Auburn ends up winning 38-24. A little bit of controversy there with the refs, which, yeah, I'll admit. There's a couple calls in that game, I'll admit. I mean, I did bet on Baylor, so that could be a little bit of bias in me. But there was a couple calls I was watching where it's like, I don't know about that one, Stripes. I think that one was kind of biased. There's especially, there's one penalty where it felt like Baylor finally got a stop. They were going to get the ball back with the chance to score, and they called a penalty. Can't remember what it was on, and then Auburn went on to score, and it's like, oh, yeah, they probably aren't coming back then. Like I said, though, Georgia Tech, Haynes King just ran wild for them against Colorado, which I really wish I could watch because it sounds like Haynes King did an amazing game. The thing that did stink, though, sounds like Dion had some really bad clock management stuff, which is starting to become kind of his thing. I mean, that was a scare for a lot of experts coming into him coaching, and now it's starting to show itself, and he doesn't have Travis or Shedeur to help him, so I'm curious to see how the coaching rebounds, because, yeah, like I said, that end of clock management stuff, that was, I'll admit, like I said, I'm not an NFL player or anything like that. I'm not even a college head coach, nothing like that. But that was tough. That was very, very tough to see, so curious to see how Colorado bounced back, because they do seem a little bit more talented this year. In other spots, obviously the quarterback's a bit stepped down. They don't have Travis Hunter. But it seems like some other spots, like defensive line, they picked up the slack a little bit. So curious to see how they're able to bounce back from that, especially in the wide open Big 12. The game, one of the bet losses, UNLV, Sam Houston, 38-21. Sam Houston not being able to put up a little bit more points against UNLV is honestly really disappointing. We just literally needed 4 points for the cover. We're not able to get it. We also missed the nasty boy. IU did not cover. Very disappointing in that. And the worst part, too, is they had some chances to, ended up not. And then later in the game, some dude ran for a 65-yard touchdown. IU ended up winning, but didn't cover there. So that was the only leg of the nasty boy that lost again. So that's back-to-back weeks. We lost by one leg. So frustrating there. And then, yeah, like I said, this is what we had. Very frustrating that Sam Houston couldn't put up a little bit more effort on offense. But UNLV, 2-0. Defense still a little bit shaky, but UNLV is at least 2-0. They held up against Sam Houston a little bit. And we talked about Ball State, Purdue. Purdue ends up winning 131-0. So really glad we laid off Ball State and did nothing there. I was very close to betting it. I'm glad I pulled off basically last minute. Where it's just like, yeah, I kind of liked it, but just not enough to take it. And boy, there's a reason I did not. I'll admit, kind of rough betting weekend for us a little bit. I think we went 2-2. So not horrible, but I had some other stuff on the side. I think one or two other plays on the side that had so much potential that just didn't work out. Like I had one bonus money parlay that I just randomly put together that had like Merrimack +6. Had some other stuff. Everything ended up covering except for Georgia minus 40 something, 38.5, whatever it was, because I think they won by 38 or whatever. It's just like, bruh. One of them weekends, though, but like I said, glad we didn't take Ball State in that one. Ohio State, Texas. That was actually a really awesome game to watch. I know offense just kind of stunk it up a little bit, but it was a nice, fun defensive battle to see, watching the two young QBs kind of figure out what to do there. Arch didn't play the worst, didn't play the greatest. I think he's going to play better. I mean, it's just hard to, you can't overreact too much from week one, but I mean, it did look pretty poopy in the pants at certain points during the game, but like I said, it's week one. I don't want to overreact too much because maybe we could come back later and 5 weeks from now, maybe even 7, it's like, oh, so Ohio State's defense is the best in the nation. They've been lights out, and then that makes sense why Arch played so bad. I mean, to be fair, Ohio State didn't play its best game either. Texas held them to 14 points. If Arch was able to put together 1 or 2 more drives, they could have potentially won the game. They failed. They could have had a field goal early, but they failed and got stuffed. There was just so many potential for, Texas didn't play a bad game at all. And that's kind of, my official takeaway from it after, listening to people talk about it. After I watched it myself and then listening to some other people talk about it, getting some points from both sides. It's like, you know, you can't take a... I mean, both teams are probably going to be great regardless, if we're being honest. It's just, yeah, if you really do think about it, Texas ended up not playing as bad. Because I'll admit, I thought they played a little bit bad, and then I listened to people explain, like, stuff they saw, like, a little bit more in depth, and it's like... Then I'm thinking back in my mind, thinking about some of those plays, it's like, I mean, yeah, they do bring up a good point there, so... Ended up not... I'm interested to see, like I said, what moves on. I mean, Texas plays San Jose next week, 36.5-point favorites. Ohio State plays Grambling, so we probably have a little bit more until we see these two teams tested again, but after the first test, Ohio State did pass. May not be the prettiest pass, but it is a pass. In Texas, we're just going to have to see what they do in the future. Northwestern gets absolutely destroyed by Tulane. Now I think we see why Kevin Jennings is good. Maybe not the greatest, but he's okay. Good. But I think now we see why Preston Stone got benched. He played horrible. I mean, that was just a horrible game. Tulane just absolutely pounded them. And they just got nothing from... I mean, it wasn't the best game. I mean, defense played kind of okay. It wasn't the best. Tulane played a really great game. I'm not going to take anything away from them either, but Northwestern basically got no help from the quarterback. I think he threw 4 interceptions. Yeah. 19 for 36, 161, 4 interceptions. I mean... I think maybe 1 or 2 of them might have not been his fault, but it was just not... I mean, it was just not a good performance all around from Northwestern, especially by Preston Stone, so that's just a tough one there, because it makes you wonder if he's going to get benched in the near future, because that's the worst game, legit, statistically the worst game he's ever played in college. Maryland handles business against Florida Atlantic. Maybe I will read out most of these. Mississippi State, 34-17 over Southern Miss. Talking about Merrimack, Kent State. Navy just handled VMI 52-7. Pitt beats Duquesne 61-9. Tennessee wins 45-26. And I will tell you, Utah hammered UCLA. I mean, we'll talk about that game a little bit later because I need to look up the QB's name. It's a little bit down the list, but he looks awesome. And so far between the UCLA-Tennessee trade, I think Tennessee is really happy about that one so far. Toledo covers for us against Kentucky. 16-24. Toledo played really, really good. They did have a chance to win this game. They just, a 79-yard touchdown with 9:22 to go. Kind of felt like that, so they're going to win this game, damn. And then, if you got the 7.5, you're pretty upset, but any other number past that, 8, 9, 10, 11, whatever it got up to, was a great number to get. It does look like Kentucky might be pretty bad. I mean, the quarterback was 10 for 23 for 85 yards. Defense played really good, but the offense might be a problem, especially at quarterback. West Virginia had a rough first half. They were only up 10-3, but then they win 45-3 against Robert Morris. They handle business there. We talked about IU, Old Dominion. Penn State handles business against Nevada. NIU squeaks by Holy Cross. Georgia beats Marshall, but not by how much we wanted. Iowa State handled business. Rocco Beck looked great so far to start the year. Florida State beats Alabama. And there was a lot of effort questions coming out of this game, especially on Alabama's side. Thomas Castellanos talking that noise in the summer and then backing it up. Round of applause, man. We'd love to see that. Pretty awesome when you can talk your noise, call your shot, and then it works out. And now I think he's able to sell merch off it, too. I think he's selling merch off it. Like I said, that's pretty funny. But, I mean, I will admit, did not watch a lot of this game, sadly, but I think I won't lie, I think I fell asleep at one point for like an hour and a half-ish, and I think it was a lot during this game. But, I mean, this was a really good game by Florida State, watching it back, some of the highlights and everything. I mean, they just dominated them. They just dominated them on the line of scrimmage. There's a lot of, like I said, effort questions with Alabama. Alabama really has hate to use the pun, but they really need to turn the tide because it's starting to get to that point where they're starting, I think, like I said, when they start questioning effort and everything and you're starting to get that called out, I mean, it's like, it's getting really, really bad. And for Florida State, this is awesome. I mean, they're bouncing back after a horrible season last year. That place was loud and awesome to listen to. If they can get that environment back and everything, that's just amazing for college football. Oregon handles Montana State. Oklahoma handles Illinois State. Florida handles LIU. Kansas State squeaks by North Dakota. That was a really, really scary game for them. They end up winning, but I mean, they score with 42 seconds left. I mean, that game got really, really bad. So that's going to get to a point where it's like, okay, is Kansas State maybe a little bit more? Are they the team? Because it's happened to a lot of teams. Like it happened last year with Oklahoma State. They had a lot of guys come back. They seemed like a team that's going to be up and coming. Hey, are they going to be the good team? And then the bottom just completely fell out. Is that going to be Kansas State this year? I'm not going to go that far just yet, but it truly does make you wonder because that was a really, really close game, and like I said, they almost lost that. Michigan handles New Mexico. I mean, 34-17, that score. I think Michigan played a lot better than the score says. Like I said, I heard from one of my experts at New Mexico. I mean, the quarterback, 31-4-7, 208 yards. Apparently, they scheme stuff up pretty nice, so like I said, I don't know Mountain West like that. That's just from people I listen to. So, the Michigan, that's a good win for them. Clemson, L to LSU. Shout out to Brian Kelly. He finally wins the season opener for the first time in a while, especially since his first time being at LSU. And yeah, this gives a lot of questions about Clemson. Can they handle the big boys? Because that's a lot of questions that people had from last year. Not coming into this year, the first big boy they play does not go too well for them. Offense just kind of gets stymied. I mean, they're probably going to be okay in the ACC, but oh man, yeah, that's a tough loss to LSU, especially at home. I mean, that's just a game that you would love to win. Because that's a win that can propel you for the season that you can hang on to. Like, we beat LSU early on, especially even if LSU is like kind of mid, it's a good SEC win regardless. But man, yeah, that's a tough loss for Clemson. Cade Klubnik, he was 19 for 38, 230, no touchdowns, 1 interception. I didn't really watch this game too much, like I said, so I don't want to judge the stats too much. But all I know is that it's a very tough loss for Clemson. They are going to for sure need to bounce back. I mean, next week, playing Troy is probably not a bad team to bounce back on. Probably not a bad one, let's be honest. Ole Miss handles business there. Rice beats Louisiana. North Texas handles Lamar. SMU beats East Texas A&M. Arizona State handles their business. I mean, like I said, there's a lot of big spread games. I mean, Arizona absolutely destroyed Hawaii, so yeah, Hawaii's probably Micah Alihado did play, so yeah, Hawaii might be one of those teams where it's like decent to kind of not horrible Power 4 teams. Probably not going to beat, but some of the really, really bad ones they might be able to sneak by with. But yeah, that was the two hardest games they're going to play in their schedule, probably Stanford, and I mean, I wouldn't want to go that far, Stanford. But Arizona's by far probably the best team they're going to play the rest of the way on their schedule until a bowl game, but if they even make it. But yeah, they got swamped. UCLA, for Devin Dampier, that's what I wanted to talk about. That boy was balling. And actually, let me talk about the Cal quarterback real quick before we go there. Cal beats Oregon State 34-15. Jaron Kewe Saputele. I had this earlier nailed, but JKS, I mean, he balled out for a freshman. Watching some of his stuff back, it's like, there's some throws you see where it's like, for a true freshman, it's like, okay, so this guy got some talent now. So it's going to be, he might be an expensive transfer next year for some monies, depending on what Cal can do. But he seems like he's going to be a guy, potentially, with how well he played in this game. Obviously, it's week 1. We got a lot longer to go. But there's some plays he made where you watch back, it's like, okay, yeah, so he's going to be just fine. So that's going to be a fun watch there for him. So shout out to that. And then, like I said, Devin Dampier, another guy that's like, oh, so he has some stuff to him, man. Utah's going to be legit this year. I'm starting to lean towards them to be my favorite to win the Big 12, especially after the way they handled UCLA. I mean, if they're going to have offense like that, especially with how good that defense is going to be, and if they have a quarterback, because Kyle Whittingham can put some winning seasons together. This whole, and I'm not agreeing with everyone who's saying it. The whole thing with, what was his name? Can't remember from last year. The Utah quarterback from last year who just dealt with injuries all the time. It's escaping my mind. It's on the tip of my tongue. Can't think of it, but he dealt with injuries all the time, then kind of had to retire from it. So they dealt with that for basically like two-ish years where is he going to play, is he not, is he going to play, is he not? Now they know who their quarterback is, and he's a guy who seemed like he's going to be really good. Another guy, Michigan, Bryce Underwood, he seemed like he's going to be pretty decent as well. I can't wait to watch that game next week against Oklahoma. That's going to be fun. That's going to be a good game, hopefully. But yeah, Devin Dampier, Utah handled business against UCLA, absolutely blew them out to where Nico played pretty bad. I think he got pressured. I saw the stat. I heard the stat. 59% of his dropbacks were pressures, which at that point, I mean, I can't even blame him for 11 of 22 for 136, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. If basically every other time you drop back there's someone in your face, like, I think everyone's going to struggle with that. Then Sunday night, South Carolina, Virginia Tech, very fun game. South Carolinians are pulling away, handling business. And I mean, Virginia Tech, Drone seems like he's going to be okay. He has... Oh, man, another game I didn't fully watch all the game. I was able to get bits and pieces of, but from what I've heard, he's had some throws where it's just like, does he not know touch? Does he have, like, why does he throw it really hard here and there? So it makes you wonder what that's going to do for them down the line. But they might be okay. I really don't know what to think of Virginia Tech. I thought they were going to be really good last year, and then they just fell off a cliff. So I think they're going to probably... You would think they would the median would kind of balance that out. They'd end up with, like, maybe 7-5, 6-6, 8-4 at the best. But I don't know. The one thing I am really excited about to watch is Lenoris Sellers and the South Carolina teams. Seems like they got a full team this year, and it seems like this is one of those years where it's like, hey, we don't know how often we're going to get a chance to do this. Maybe we can get it with this squad. So I'm very excited to watch this team going forward. I mean, next week they play South Carolina State, so we got a while to watch them play a good game. But, I mean, they got a tough schedule, though. That's going to be the one thing for them that's going to be like, ooh, can they get past that? I mean, you're talking Vanderbilt, Missouri, Kentucky, LSU, Oklahoma, Alabama, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, and then they got Clemson in the year. I mean, that's not the hardest of schedules, but it is definitely still going to be tough. But they can figure some stuff out. This is a team that, like, hey, college playoff sleeper. Notre Dame ends up losing 24-27 to Miami. Carson Beck played pretty well, I won't lie to you. Still not the biggest fan of him, but with what he's showing, I can't lie. He played good. And I was looking like, okay, hey, maybe he's not as horrible as I think. Okay. He had one questionable throw-ish, well, that I thought was super questionable that I remember seeing, but the wide receiver made an amazing catch. So you're like, okay. Props to Carson. He put it in just enough spots where he could grab it. But overall, like I said, I thought C.J. Carr played pretty decent as well. Very excited for Notre Dame, what they're going to do moving forward. I mean, this is probably the toughest game on their schedule. You got Texas A&M, Purdue, Arkansas, Boise, NC State, USC, Boston College, Navy, Pitt, Syracuse, Stanford. So, like I said, the second hardest team they're probably going to play this year. Miami seems like they might be legit, too. So, shout out to Notre Dame. I mean, I wish they got a little bit more on Jeremiah Love. That's my big takeaway from this. Really wish they were able to get, he got handled, I guess. I mean, he had 10 carries for 33 yards, but 10 carries feels like a little too less. I feel like you should have a little bit more. In the final game, talk about the just straight belt to ass that was TCU, North Carolina. It's safe to say that TCU had a lot to put their cap on, go in the game, had a lot of motivation because all anybody was really talking about was, hey, North Carolina is just going to be their year. And the funny thing that keeps going around is they always have that one drive where I'll admit that place was loud, where North Carolina basically marches down the field, score a touchdown, but then right after that TCU figures out what they're doing and then basically puts them in a headlock and just buries them in the ground for the rest of the game. They end up winning 48-14. I quit watching at halftime because it was like, yeah, I got the message. The under didn't even hit because of how much TCU ended up scoring. I mean, it was a tough debut for Bill Belichick. We're going to have to see how it goes, though, for them the rest of the year. I mean, you got 70 new transfers. It's going to be hard in year one, to be honest, but there's some real issues with tackling. There's some just bad tackling. There's just some stuff I saw. The center couldn't even get the ball back to the quarterback. I mean, there's some basic fundamental stuff that you saw with the team where it's like, oh, boy, yeah, that's going to be – they got a lot to work on. Like, I won't lie to you. The second – I forget what possession it was, but Gio Lopez had basically the ball go at his feet. He had to bend over, pick it up, then throw it. It's like, all right, yeah. Yeah, that was the exact moment where I'm like, oh, this game's over for sure. And, yeah, they got a lot to work on. So, we'll just see. I mean, Gio Lopez sounds like it's hurt, so they might have to play the other quarterback who threw a touchdown to his brother, which was pretty cool. But, yeah, it sounds like UNC is going to have a long way to go. If I had to guess that over 7.5 is not hitting, they're probably going to max out at 6 to 7 games. That's going to do it for today. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for the support. Really do appreciate it. I'll be back in this feed on tomorrow. Come back tomorrow for first one of the year, baby. Pickem Thursdays on a Wednesday. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to go over all my Pickem bets. I guess they aren't bets. We're going to go over for deals you knew. Pickem, it's a thing I do with my family that you just basically pick the money line of every NFL game. Go over confidence points. So basically I'll do that to go over my picks, what I think, and then we're going to head over to the betting board. I'll go over NFL bets, what I'm thinking there, kind of give out like my, hey, this is what I'm thinking here, some player props I might like, and then we'll go over college and get my college bets. So that's pretty much what every Wednesday is going to be now for the rest of the year. And like I said, the plan is to go 3 days a week if I can. That'd be awesome. Monday would be college, Tuesday would be NFL, Wednesday would be the bets and predictions for the week. And then eventually, at some point down the line, I would love to go to 4 days, but that's a lot of... I don't know if that's going to be able to be worked out with my schedule with how busy I've been lately, but for sure going to go to 3 days a week starting next week. And like I said, tomorrow is when I'll see everyone again. We will have Pickem Wednesdays on a Wednesday. And it's going to be fun, man. Crazy NFL's already here. Very excited for it. Got some fun bets I'm thinking about. Ready to make some money again this year. So see everyone back tomorrow for Pickem Thursdays on a Wednesday.